Hello everybody, welcome back to another series. This is the fifth part of MERN Stack audio streaming platform, where we are building a audio streaming platform similar to Spotify and YouTube type UI. So we already discussed sign up users, login users, API, and also we are already create the sign up and login thunk and also extra users. Now we are going to work with the rest of the API. Okay, and we are explaining line by line, and I'm just try to show you how backend and frontend respond to each other, and this is my main model. Well, let's get right into it. So first, you can see we are calling this is the fetch current users. Okay, and if I take you to the front end, like in the user route, so this is the route, this is the endpoint, authenticate, right? And router.get authenticate. So we are using get method, so which means we only care about fetching data, nothing else. And yeah, so this is the endpoint, and as I told you, we have this is the uh, base endpoint API/users. All right, now we will understand. So here you are. We just called. We're not passing any data, because if you look at in these two like API, we are sending, we are getting and extracting two from data and data, but here nothing. So API.get/authenticate, this is the backend uh, endpoint, so we have to match it. After that, we have to create user slice. We have to create slice. Okay, so we already create sign up users and login users, and now it's time to create a fetch current users. So here, whatever you want to put a name, you can, and this is the create async thunk, and inside this create async thunks, this is the name for debugging purpose, for Redux Toolkit. If you use it, so with this name you can figure out a lot of things. And this is the asyncs, as I told you before, and inside this we are passing multiple parameter. So here you are passing double underscore, which means we're not passing any data, and this is the reject with value. As I explained to you, this is for handling error. Okay, all right. And here we are using try block and catch. So all the payload result we are handling here, and in catch block we are handling all the error. All right. So yeah, so we are calling this fetch current users. Okay, we are calling because we create these things inside user API. This is the things, right? And there is one part is that we are not sending any headers. Why is that? Because we are not posting anything. We are just getting the data. That's why there is no need to sending headers, because we are care about getting information from backend, from database, right? All right. So yeah, and this is the debugging purpose. So in this two I'm not putting, but make sure you can put it so you can debug it if any error is there. And okay, so this is the response. So I called res, whatever you call. Okay, and then I return response data.users, right? So I'm not explaining again, because I already explained to you in a previous two routers, two to slice very deeply. So now I'm just go through a little bit so you can catch up. And yeah, so I'm writing users. Why? I think guys you can guess it. If you watch my previous video, so you can guess it. So this is the race, and this data is a built-in data, right? And these users, I'll show you. I'll show you something. What controller? So this is the get authenticate controller. So you can see here users. So I already the structure, and I'm sending to frontend users. So here you are. We are just assign users. From that result payload, whatever data we are getting from backend, whatever data backend sent to us as a response, inside this data we have the users. All right, and this is the catch block. And now if you look at the extra users, this is the fetch current users. So pending, okay, first fetch user loading, we are assigned true, and then set error null, right? And then fulfill state action. So this is state.current users, and we are assigning action.payload. Alright, why is that? Because you already put race.data.users. So whatever data from users we are assigned here state.current users, right? If you're not using data.users, we have to use here payload.users. I think you get it. And this is for debugging purpose. And when you get reject, so this case runs, right? I think guys you can even get it, right? And yeah, so this is the fetch current users. And now let's see another logout. So just we name it logout, and we passed nothing. API post logout / logout. If I take you to backend, you can see router post logout, right? And here you are. So similar things we are passing. We are not passing any data, and yeah, and this is the logout. This is the logout asking thunk, like this is a logout thunk. So we are not passing any parameter or any data. So just we are using double underscore and then reject with value, and we are calling this logout user, and then we are returning null, because just we want to care about to remove that cookie from browser. So that's the thing. When we call it function, the browser will be clear. That's it, right? Right. So logout users, and this is logout. So just we care about fulfill. Yeah. So here just I only care about fulfill, but you can handling also pending other things. But here we don't need to. So this is logout fulfilled, and state dot current user assign null, and then token null. Because if you call the logout method, so it's assigned null, and yeah, so we initialize it as a null current users, so it refreshes to null. The next route is the API is update users, right? So we are extracting two parameters, user ID and form data. So these two data comes from come from update user page. Okay, so this is the user ID. So we are getting user ID from update user page, which means who want to update their account, right? Whatever data they want to update, That's why we are passing two parameters, user ID and form data, because we have to send these two data, uh, to backend. And yeah, so API put. So when you update something, we are using put, because put cannot override. But if you use post, the output will be same, but the post gonna override. Okay, so this is the dynamics. Okay, this is the dynamic. As I told you, is that when you use, let me show you. We are using here uh, clone, right? So when you use clone, which means it's a dynamic route. So we don't know what type of user want to, who want to update their account, right? So we can access from params, right? So that is the thing. That's why we are using a string, and it's a slash, then here using a ID, user ID. So yeah, dollar and then user ID, and then yeah, then form data. This user ID should be a dynamic, and then form data. Then we are passing to, then headers, content type, multiple form data, because maybe we can upload image, so we don't know, right? That's why I told you again, when you try handle audio file, video file, or maybe image, so we have to care about this multiple form data, because it can handle it. Right, similar to delete users. So we are extracting user ID from a delete page. So this is the user ID, and it should be dynamic. API.delete, and then dynamic route, uh, dynamic user ID. If I take you to, you can see here, clone ID, right? So yeah, API delete, and now if you go to user slice page, we have two things: update users and delete users. So here, user ID and form data. So as I told you, we can pass in multiple data. So here you are passing two data, user ID and form data. It should be dynamic, and this data come from the update users. Whatever data user put, user want to update, they can. Right. So similar things I already explained to you many times. Same format, same concept, just the router is different. And then we are calling update users, API.update users, and we are passing two data, user ID, form data. It should be dynamic, where that route handle it, and form data also. And then whatever data we are getting from backend, we are assigned we are assigned it in response, and then we are return this response. This is a built-in method, and these users come from backend. If I show you again, so yeah, yes, this data, these users, you can see inside we already handle all the things: ID, username, name, email, profile image, gender. So we only care about this six field. So although we are assigned, but you can get that sixth field when you if you want to console log. So we can see only these things. Don't worry, I can console it when you run this font tag, okay, and then I return. So similar things about delete users, and here we are just calling this delete users method, and we are passing user ID, and then just we only return user ID, because just we only care about this delete. So which means you want to clear the browser things, and and then account. So this is to thunk. Now you can work with so here we have a different update user loading. Okay, this is a different loading state. So actually, no, I think we can only use loading, but there is a use case because in some file we want to we want to fetch multiple times, so it should be automatically call. So you can get a lot of error or unexpected uh, data, unexpected behavior. So that's why I observed and I just separate it. Now we should work on. Okay, this is the update extra reducers. We have three edge case: pending, fulfill, rejected. Okay, inside pending, just when you are calling that method, so just we make it true, and then error null, and then when it's complete, we send state and action. So we only care about payload. So we've already assigned res dot data dot users. So if you don't use user inside data, let's say if you use only response dot data, so here we have to use. Otherwise, otherwise, guys, you can get entire this object, right? This entire object. So it will be very difficult when you access. You have to access. You have to create a multiple layer. I'll show you. Don't worry, because I'm all about decoding everything. Because I also, when I was learning, I also faced a lot of things, and all the people think we are pro. So if you are pro, I think we don't need to watch any video. We can handle it, but we need is kind of all the things how each code work. So if you understand, I think you are good to go. So and here we are handling, and then after that assigned all the data inside current users, and then we have to make it false the use update user loading. Otherwise this loading infinite will spin, right? And then if you get rejected, and then we can handle here all the state, right? So state dot error is equal to action dot payload. Whatever error we can get, we assign here. All right, this is the update users extra user. Now it's time to explain delete users. All right, so we have just two things. We're not considering pending, because instantly we can get the result. If you not, then we can get rejected, right? The use case will be two: rejected or fulfill. So in fulfill case, we are just we make it current user null and then token null. That's it. And if we get rejected, then we assign action payload into error. And now I think you get it. So after creating all the extra reducers, so we have to export, right? And it's good to go. But here we are using two reducer. You can see, guys. Uh, this clear error and reset. So we have to send action. Yes, this way. Export const. So we are using restructuring. So clear error and reset. User slide dot action. This is the building, right? And then you also export user slide dot reducers, right? So inside this reducers we are handling extra reducers, but inside here we are sending action. So after creating it, we have to store in a store file. This is our global store. Okay, so we are it's a configure store. So it comes from Redux Toolkit, right? And yeah, then we create export const store and config store. So in this store we have to handle, and this is the reducer, and this reducer comes from, right, yeah, and this is a built-in reducer, and inside this reducer we have two reducer, first users, second audio. So we already create this reducers. So these reducers come from user slice. Here you go. Well, user slice. Oh my god, man. Yes, user slice. User reducer. Where is this tool, man? Yes, user reducer. This user reducer, right? And we name it users. So make sure whatever you put a name, you have to access this name inside your component, right? So yeah, we name it users. Whatever you can name it, yeah, you have to handle with that. And then also I can explain to you similar to it's gonna happen audio reducer, right? And we are importing from this folder. This is the store, and this is the main global store. So you don't need to handle state in every folder, because you already handle all the things inside um, user slice, right? Inside user slice. So yeah, inside user slice. So yeah, so right now you are free, so you can use uh, that API, or you can handle it, right? You can use that controller, that API, that thunk inside your profile page, and yeah, because you already handle it. That is the use case of Redux Toolkit and stores, right? So we already explained user slides, and now it's time to explain audio. So let's close all the users and users, and now we have F path controller. We have to open path controller. We have to close. This is the audio route, and this is the audio controller. Okay, it's app. Okay, and now this is the audio API. So first I'm going to explain to you this audio file, okay, because now you got an idea how audio API and then audio slice link each other, and how they send the response to the backend, and how backend send back the response. And yeah, so frontend give a request, and backend process it, and then backend send us a response. Whatever response we get, we handle it, and then we return to the reducer, and then where we are handling the state, and then we export, and then it comes to a Redux store. Okay, and then store is it's a global store. So if you want to use that state, we can use it, right? So that's why I'm just gonna go through similar things. This is the base URL, and we already explained to you, just yeah, similar things. And upload API. This audio comes from upload audio API, upload audio component, and we are using post base URL audio data, right? So here we have a different things, because inside post we are handling base URL, and because if you look at user API, we not have this base URL we already handled here. So it's up to you. So I'm just showing you how different way, like how, yeah, you can use different things in different way. So in this my project, I use all the different approach. So it's up to you. So this is base URL, audio data, and in this file we are uploading audio, image. That's why we care about this multi-part form data. All right, we are sending access config, right? Yes, and then fetch all audio. We are using get. So we are using here post. If I show you, you can see post. Yeah, this is the post, and this is the things upload audio, right? Yes, audio, yeah. And this is the fetch all audio, which means all the audio we want to fetch. So we are using get and base URL access config, right? Nothing else. And then fetch audio, particular audio we are caring about. So this audio comes from the component, okay? And component means inside component we also fetching that audio from params, right? User params. And this base URL, it's a dynamic. This audio ID, it's a dynamic, right? Because we don't know what type of particular video we are going to listen. To, right? So that is the things. It should be dynamic. Why is that? Because if you look at here, as I explained to you, if you use colon, which means it should be dynamic. And why it is dynamic? Because we don't know what type of audio we are going to consume. So that is the things. And yeah, and this is toggle API. Similar things, we are extracting or we are getting audio ID from a params, user params. If I say directly, and there's base URL, and it should be dynamic audio ID, and then like. Why is that? I take to these things. This audio ID, right? Yeah. So yeah, and like, and then we are providing empty object access config. Similar for toggle bookmark, right? So toggle like API and toggle bookmark are same. You can see, guys. And then update audio as a few, right? Similar things, nothing else. And then add comment. Here we have different things, because not only we are just accessing audio ID, but also we need content. Because yeah, so I name it content, whatever you want to put, because here you can put data, form data, content data. So it's up to you. It's your choice, right? So I would like to call content. So this content means what user want to comment on that particular audio, right? So yeah, so we want to extract that text or that data, and then you want to send comment, and then content and access config. This is the audio API. And now audio slice. So this is the same similar things I already explained to you. Create slice and create async thing. These two things come from Redux Toolkit, nothing else. Upload audio. So yeah, and this is the two things: audio data and Thunk API. I call Thunk API. You can call whatever you want to. Right. So uh, well, you can see other things, right? Why? Because here we're not using reject with value, because inside Thunk API we have this thing, right? So as I told you, I'm not consistent because I want to give you a different approach. So it's up to you whatever things you want to use. This is a Thunk API, right? and then I call upload audio API, and then whatever data I destructuring here data, right, and then I return data. So I'm not using here response because we already destructure. If you're not destructuring, so you can use a response, and then here we have to use response for data, right, and then I return. And here we are handling error, all right, similar to fetch all audios. So we are not sending any data to backend. That's why you have to use double underscore. So it means it's empty, and then thunk API. Okay, we are calling fetch all audios with empty. Okay, we are not sending any data. So and here you are using audios. I'll show you all audios. This is audios. Inside audios, whatever data we have, we are extracting here, right? This is the fetch all audios, and yeah, and then fetch audio, particular audio. Then you can see we are not structuring here response, and then API fetch audio, and we are sending audio ID because we care about only particular things. We have to know which audio we are talking about, and then here we are handling in different way. If response to our success is not there, send the error, throw an error, right? So guys, you can see a lot of different approach I follow because I want to show all the edge cases, and then I return a response data.audio, right? And then here I handling the error. You can see audio because from backend you also assign these things. That is the things toggle like that things audio ID thunk API. We are calling toggle like API with audio ID, and then we are destructuring here data, so we are return only data, and that's it. For toggle bookmark audio ID thunk API, we are calling toggle bookmark API with audio ID, and then also we are destructuring data, so here we are just returning data, and then update audio as a view. Also we are calling with audio ID, and then as we are structuring, so we just return data and add comment audio ID content. Okay, and then audio ID content we are structuring, but we just assign comment. Let me show you this uh, this comment data. So it's object, and we have entire object. If you don't do it, so you can get it. But I want to have this. I want to get this. That's why I assign here. If you don't do it, so you can get entire object. So this is the thunk, and now we have to work with the state. So first we are initialize audio, right? And yeah, I use here separately. If you want to, you can state this inside here, right? So what use? So this is the empty array because here we want to store all the data, right? So we have multiple data, multiple audio, maybe 100 audio, 200 audio, I don't know. We can handle here. That's why we put array, and then audio data null as a first time audio, and then current audio null, loading false, error null, right? And then we are creating slice reducers. We are using create slice, it's a building method. And yeah, this is reducers because you want to clear the state. So we have only reducers, and we have extra reducers. Why is that? Because when you use async, okay, create async, we have to use extra reducers. And then we have three edge case: fulfill, pending, rejected. So here you are, I'm handling different way. So here I only care about fulfill, and then I create others, these two, pending and rejected. So guys, you can see, like, different approach we can take, right? And yeah, so that's why in my code base there is no consistency. Why is that? Because this is the project where I'm showing you all the use case, okay, and how a developer, a pro developer, using different approach. And so it's based on the requirement, it's based on the situation you are, it's based on the project you are working on, right, and the time. So yeah, so yeah, so this is the first upload. We only care about here fulfill state action. At first we are just loading false because it's a fulfill, and then unshipped. So unshipped means whatever data we have, we just put the top of the array, right? The top of the array, that is called unshipped. So action payload audio inside this audios array, and then also fetch all audios and fulfill false. So entire payload we put audios. So yeah, this is the upload and this is the things. So already we are handling accent payload audios. That's why we don't need to put here. And then pending for fetch audio. So we are using pending because we want to show particular one things. So state loading dot true and then dot null and state loading false. State current audio accent payload. You are assign this entire audio in current audio. It's not an array, it's as a null because we only care about single audio, and then rejected state false, and then your action payload. And now there is a now you have to understand very carefully this toggle light, because when you manage the state, so you should be get unexpected behavior on your UI if you don't manage correctly, right? So you have to manage very carefully. So look, I'm explaining you very slowly, and yeah, because when I was practicing this handling is very, you know, it takes a lot of time to understand actually how it works with backend. So you watch my backend video, okay? So you know how this backend could work. But when it comes to front end, so what do ID like user ID? We are extracting from payload, and this payload comes from this data, and this data, if I take you controller, nice, carefully, it's very important. This is the response, entire response. We have success true, we have message, we have liked, audio ID, user ID, total likes, users. We have this different, right? So we are care about this like, right? Audio ID and user ID. What else? What? So inside data ID, our data we have entire object, right? But here we are care about audio ID, okay, liked, and user ID. Okay, and state.current audio. Just we are name it inside audio ID because we have to use multiple times state.current audio. That's why we are just assign here audio ID. So it becomes audio, right? And then we are using what? We are using if state, which means if this block of code true, run this entire block of code. If it's become false, escape it, right? So we also use nested if else statement. But so audio ID, this audio ID comes from the backend, and this audio comes from the current audio, which means if and we are using optional chaining, which means if audio is not exist, this code is not gonna crash. So yeah, we have to make sure. Maybe the audio ID is not exist, and we are comparing, so your code will crash. So what do you question mark dot underscore ID? So if this ID and this ID is matching, that means it's true, right? Run this code. So that means the data, the content we are watching, right, on the UI, the content we are watching or listening on the UI, the similar things we respond to the backend, right? So yeah, these things is matching. Maybe we are watching some things and we are responding a different code, a different UI. So it will be confused. So here I'm just ensuring. So let's say it's true, that means it's matching. The audio ID I am liking and the audio ID I'm watching. It's similar. So yeah, this is the audio ID from backend, and this audio ID from my current audio, which means what audio I am just listening, and they are true. So run this block of code. So first, this line of code runs audio.likes. So there is a field. This is the audio uh, collection or audio document. Okay, this is the audio collection. Inside audio document we have likes field, right? Likes field. So we are assigned audio likes for empty. If it's true, then assigned in this here, and then also we are handling here what next line is already like. This is the variable name, okay, and audio likes include user ID. The user ID we are extracting from backend, right? And this user ID we are getting from frontend. So from frontend to thunk, and thunk to backend, and then again we are getting response after processing. So includes, this is the method, and this care about it exists or not. If it exists, send a true. So let's say this user ID is here inside this likes array, because we are referred to users, right? Let me show you again the user model for the model. Okay. Guys, this is the files I'm talking about. This is the field I'm talking about, likes. This is the field I'm talking about, and this is the reference users. So inside this array, we have user ID. So that is the things I'm talking about, my friend. Here I'm talking about that is the things. This is a like field. It include this 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 user ID exists or not. If it exists, then make it true. If not, it will false. So, and then after that, I'm checking, I'm using if statement. If like true, and here we are using and operator. So it makes sure I want to care about double things. If it's true and if it's not, that means it's true, it's false. So it means user is not like that content. So what we can do, we can push user ID inside this likes array. So yeah, this is the push method, and we are just assign, we are just pushing this user ID inside likes array, and this is the field inside audio ID. Right. But if like is let's say this audio is true, and if it's not, then escape this block of code. So we are using here in one line, that's why we are not using return. If you want to use return, so you have to use curly back in a backend, right? Let's say it's true, it's not. So this block of code become false. So don't run, skip this block of code and run this. Else if, again I'm just checking the things. If like not and it's true, run this block of code. What is that? So this is audio.likes. It's a field, and we are assigned this audio.likes.filter. We are using filter method. What filter method does, if both audio is matching, so except that matching ID, keep it as it is, other ID. That is the thing. So this line means user already like that audio, right? So I want to remove their user ID from this likes array field. So filter can do that. How? Filter, filter check this ID. This ID comes from database, and this user ID comes from this backend. Means I'm sending from frontend, accessing by params to thunk, and thunk's request to the backend, and backend send us back this user ID. So yeah, this is the ID from database, and this is the ID from frontend, and then processing by backend, right? So we are using not operator is equal to. So yeah, it makes it fall to, yeah, if they are not equal, which means they are equal. So except this user ID, put all the other user ID inside likes. That means, so indirectly it's removing this user ID from that array, right? Yeah. So guys, I think you are getting. I hope you can get. I hope you understand, right? And yeah, but here we have different things. Toggle like same, like UI you can toggle, you can click this like button, so you can increase. If you click on it again, it decrease, and the state update instantly. For toggle bookmark, it will be same, but the logic is very different. Why is that? Let me explain to you. So we are using if statement. State current ID if is equal to accent payload audio ID. This audio ID comes from backend, right? If it's true, they run this block of code. All right, accent payload dot bookmark. This is the bookmark name, comes from backend, and this is the temporary name, and we are update current audio. Yeah, that's it. And then update audio as a view. Simple. we just assign entire audio object into current audio. So we are updating this current audio. That's it, man. And there is a add comment fulfill. This is the um, state current and state current comments if exist, because I want to make sure there is a current audio and also there is a comments I am getting from users. Then I can update this current audio comments. Okay, if it's true, then run this block of code. So state current audio comments. This is the comment fields inside audio field. Let me show you again. Here you have audio models. This is the comments field name, comments, and we are referring comment file. We are referring comment document. Okay. So yeah, this is the field, and this is the push method, which means it can push on the top of array because we are using array to extend the payload. That's it. And this is the two things, because you can see, guys, we are not using a pending or rejected. So yeah, we are handling here. How? We are passing. This is the building method. Add matcher accent, and then accent.type if start with audio and accent type end with pending. Run this code. State loading to state error null. Add matcher. Accent type start with audio and accent type end with rejected. Run this. State loading state error. So this audio means I'm talking about yeah, correct. So yeah, and now I think you can understand this is the accent, reducer accent. So we have to export const clear error, and this is the export default audio slice dot reducer, and then we have to assign inside store. So I already explained to you audio reducer, and this is the name. So guys, I hope you are getting two reducer. One is uh, user reducer and second is audio reducer. So I spent a lot of time to explain to you, and I hope you can understand. And I'm gonna explain to you the entire UI, because we already set up all the routes endpoints, and now we have to work with the UI. So for now, thank you so much, and it's time to stop